Well, hello, dear friends from Ha Giang, Vietnam. This is a northeastern province in Vietnam. I'll be doing the Ha Giang Loop, which is a motorbike loop. I'll share with you, hopefully, along this video, some of the great views that you can expect to see here. I'll help you with some of the information about what to pack, when to come, how to get here, what the logistics look like. Can you drive a motorcycle yourself? Should you drive a motorcycle yourself? All of those pieces of information I'll be sharing with you. Usually this is you can do a 2-day or 3-day, even a 4-day trip. And I think they also offer, there's a Jeep trip that you can take as well. Anyway, along for the ride. Hopefully you enjoy some of the views that I have here and enjoy Ha Giang, Vietnam. So here's a map of the Ha Giang Loop. So the first day you go from Ha Giang City up through the region here, across through the Yanmen city, and then all the way up north. Stop here at Pho Bang for lunch. The Hamong King's Palace is right here. I have some photos of that, and you'll see some of that in the video. And your first day, you'll stop in Dong Van. So as you make your way through the mountains in Ha Giang, you'll often stop for cafe for lunch or dinner, and this is sort of your normal kind of like spread that you would get. You eat some rice, this green vegetables like morning glory, and then you have some spring rolls and some just really nice roasted pork. This is like a vegetable soup. You just eat it all with a little bit of rice, a little bit of steamed rice, and then you have this fantastic view to enjoy your lunch with. As you make your way up through the hills and around these curvy mountain roads, you end up in these sort of turnoffs, and you come across the Hamong tribe and their children. Now, these are really easily recognizable. They have very distinct colors and clothing. They live up in the hills, in the mountains here, and they make their living farming and that kind of thing. And occasionally you'll come across the children. They'll be at roadsides offering flowers, pictures, that kind of thing, make it a little extra money for the family. So as you come down through the mountains towards Dong Van, you'll get the opportunity to stop at the Hamong King's Palace. This palace was built at the late 1800s, early 1900s. The Hamong King at the time became very powerful and wealthy from dealing in the opium trade. So you may be planning your Ha Giang trip and trying to figure out exactly what to bring, how to bring it, what to leave behind. I'm going to give you kind of a good idea of what a good loadout for your trip will be. So first of all, you're going to want to have a light jacket, something that you can throw on and take off in the morning as the temperature rises. Remember, a lot of this trip, you're going to be in the mountains in the very northernmost part of Vietnam. So the temperatures, starting out in the morning time can be pretty cool. So as far as bags go, I have a larger bag that I use as my sort of carry-on for everything. And then I have this smaller bag that is good for holding basically everything I need for the bike trip. Remember, if you're taking an Easy Rider motorcycle, you'll be on the back, your driver will be on the front. He'll have his bag, you'll have your bag, and you got to remember, you got to pack light and compact, because all of this has to fit on the motorcycle comfortably all day long. So a good bag that you can break down your necessities for just the motorcycle trip. Your big bag you'll put at the hotel, and you'll leave at the hotel that you arrive at, and they'll hold that. Everything else you can break down, put in a small bag, bring with you. I packed a small umbrella based on the weather. You never really know. Of course, I have a phone charger, insect repellent, my passport, some toothpaste, the basic toiletries, that's my toothbrush, swimming trunks. There are a couple opportunities to do some swimming. And then just 3 days worth of change of clothes. The other thing I want to recommend is long pants. So you're going to be on a motorcycle, right? It's really important to remember that everything doesn't always go right all the time. And if you wreck and you have just shorts on, your legs are going to be turned to hamburger. So something that gives you a little bit of protection is good. Also, long pants are good in the morning to help keep you warm. And a good pair of closed-toed shoes. Well, as you begin to plan your Ha Giang experience, you may be considering several different modes of transport here. One, you can rent a motorbike from a lot of places here, drive yourself through the Ha Giang loop on your own, and that's fine. You can also hire an Easy Rider, so you just sit on the back. They do all the driving, and that can be either in a part of a group or as a private tour. So for me, I chose just hiring a private driver and sitting on the back of the bike, letting him take care of all the driving, and just being able to focus on taking in all the wonderful scenery, the beauty, and not being concerned about traversing some of these mountain roads that can be a little unpredictable. I think there also is there's a Jeep tour, so you can ride in a Jeep if you don't feel like spending the whole time of the trip on the back of a motorcycle. A word of caution about renting your own motorcycle here. So after COVID, there apparently was a fairly significant amount of tourists having accidents on these roads as they were driving themselves. So the police in the last couple of years have really cracked down on license enforcement. An important point is, well, at least I can't really speak to all the countries, but the United States in particular, we don't have an agreement with Vietnam. We are not signatories on the same agreement that would allow a international driver's license permit to operate here if you have a United States driver's license. So technically, it is illegal for you to drive in Vietnam as an American, and there's no real way for you to legally drive in Vietnam. So what that means is that if you get pulled over and the Vietnam police that pulls you over just happens to be a stickler, you could end up getting fined. You could have the bike that you're riding impounded. I've seen numerous police checkpoints on my first day driving in and out of the cities. So they take it seriously here. The last couple years, it's gotten much more serious. So take that into account. It may just be more hassle than it's worth. I personally don't feel like I've lost anything or any of the experience by riding on the back of a bike. In fact, I think it's enhanced because you get to really enjoy the environment and the scenery without trying to focus on a mountain road that you've never been on before in a country that you've never driven in. So
I think hiring a driver is probably the best practice. The other note about driving yourself, a lot of health insurance and travel insurance won't cover you if you have an accident, if you are driving illegally in a country that you are unable to obtain a license to drive in. So God forbid, you're driving yourself up on one of these mountain roads and you catch some gravel or something, you end up in a ditch or even worse, and you have to have significant medical care or even be, evacuated out of Vietnam. That could be, $800,000-$900,000 that you wouldn't be covered for with travel insurance. So take the gravity of this of what you're doing a little. Maybe you may want to consider the gravity of what you're doing. You're on a motorcycle in a country that you may not be that familiar with, on roads that can be wildly unpredictable, with traffic that is wildly unpredictable. So it may just be a better bet to leave the driving to the professionals. But that's my 2 cents as far as the driving is concerned here. Well, your first leg of the Ha Giang Loop tour will probably end in Dong Van. Now, this is it's kind of a small mountain village that tends to be the end of the first leg and sort of a home base to explore parts of the other parts of the Ha Giang area. So this is a great little village, and it's nestled in these wonderful, beautiful mountains. And up until just a few years ago, it was a pretty small, sleepy town, and it's been built up quite a bit over the last couple of years. Now there's lots of cafes and restaurants and massage places and music and bars and shopping and pretty much everything you could want in one of these little cities. So the locals have really sort of seized upon this opportunity of tourism and really have built out this city in a way that, at least from what my driver has told me, is much bigger and almost unrecognizable from just a few years ago. So on your trek through the Ha Giang area, you'll probably spend a night or 2 nights here in a hotel or homestay and use this as more of a kind of a home base to sort of branch out of.